You know, it must be pretty cool to be an Avenger, but the First Avenger, you can't beat that. What is up, everyone? Movie Man back again with another Cinema Revisited episode. This is going to be for the 2011 movie Captain America, the First Avenger, and this is directed by Joe Johnston, starring Chris Evans, Hayley Atwell and Sebastian. Now, the point of these Cinema Revisited episodes is that I do talk spoilers and dissect the film a little bit, so that is your heads up right there. Now, this tells the story of Steve Rogers, who time after time again is rejected by the military. However, when they have a test coming up to create some super soldiers, he is in fact chosen, and here he becomes Captain America. Now, my overall experience first time watching the MCU, I remember liking this movie more than the Winter Soldier. Don't shoot me. But I'm really looking forward to rewatching The Winter Soldier, to be honest. I think my viewings may change on these films. However, did I still enjoy this one as much as I did back in the day? Let's find out. Now, one thing that did stick in the memory for me when I first watched this was the whole World War II setting. And I really enjoyed it. You know, it was something different for the MCU and still is early on in this first phase, if you like. And on rewatch, I did notice it to be a little bit more glossier than I remember. It didn't really feel like I was in that time period, but it still looked great, you know. And it's kind of hard to care, to be honest, because there's so many things going on in this movie. You just put that to the back of your mind. Now, this is a little bit of an origin story, and it's the first Captain America film. So we are introduced here to Chris Evans as Captain America himself. And he's one of the biggest characters in the MCU right now, and he's a damn good one. However, not really one of my favourites, I've got to be honest. Look, he just lacks a little bit of personality and charisma, like Tony Stark and Thor, for example. However, this is a little bit of an unfair negative, because at the start of the movie, he has zero confidence. He's rejected time and time again from the military. People laugh at him and stuff. But what's so great about Steve Rogers is that he has heart, you know. He has superhero traits inside of him. For example, when the dummy grenade is thrown in the military camp, he jumps on it while everyone else scatters. And that's what I do really like about Steve Rogers. You know, he's born to be a superhero, really. He just needs that extra push. And when he is actually turned into the super soldier, oh my god, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I had to actually look up if Chris Evans had lost all this weight, you know, for the first act of the movie and then gained it all for the last two acts. But it was actually done with special effects, and I sort of knew that in the back of my mind, really, because of time constraints and stuff to get the movie made. But it just has to be applauded to the special effects and CGI work that went into this. It was nothing short of exceptional. I feel like when Steve Rogers is actually given this license to be this superhero, that's when the movie really does pick up. I mean, the last two acts are great because of all these amazing action scenes, and we're thrown straight into one, in fact, when he does become this super soldier, with a great chase scene through the streets. This bad guy has took this kid hostage, and Steve Rogers is in pursuit, and it's so fast paced, you know, heart in your mouth stuff. But from a personal point of view, I really like this because it's filmed in my hometown of Liverpool, and it was good to notice all these little locations there. And the storming of the Hydra base as well. This is probably my favourite part of the whole film. Seeing Steve Rogers, or Captain America by now if you like, and his sidekick Bucky just going after the Red Skull there. It was so well shot, so well filmed, and just a joy to behold, really. If Thor was more of a simpler movie, this was the total opposite. If you like your superhero films to be full of action, this one is for you. And it was also nice to see the arc of Steve Rogers now. It become more apparent, because all these characters, all these side characters who laughed at him at the start of the movie, were now applauding him as this hero that he'd become, and it was good to see. This is all capped off by a brilliant ending as well. I mean, just to be in a totally different time period to the whole movie that I've been watching, that blew me away the first time I watched that. There's also quite a few nice side characters here too. I mean, it was good to see Tony Stark's father and what he was up to in the war. But I just want to give a special mention to Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, I'm not his biggest fan, to be honest. I think he's okay, but he was quite hilarious in this film. I mean, most of the memorable comedic one-liners came from him. I couldn't stop laughing when Steve Rogers walked up to him and he just said, Oh, it's the man with the plan who always has a plan. What is your plan today? Now, there is a bit of a love story going on here as well between Steve Rogers and Agent Carter. I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, she is a good side character, don't get me wrong. But there wasn't really a connection for me there. I mean, at the end of the film where he hasn't kept his promise because he's been, put 70 years into the future, I just didn't really care. I mean, it tried to be emotional and stuff, but I just felt like the chemistry was sort of forced at times. Also, I was really looking forward to Hugo Weaving's portrayal as the Red Skull here. Just say that to yourself on paper, the Red Skull. Now, that should be a villain you're looking forward to seeing. But I don't really have any memorable scenes in the back of my mind that he was in. He was just pretty forgettable and a tad boring. I mean, it should have been done better, this villain, but really, he was one of the more forgettable ones from the MCU, in all honesty. Also, this isn't really a negative because I said how good the special effects and CGI were, but it's kind of off-putting seeing Steve Rogers as this skinny guy at the start of the movie, because you know, after watching all these Avengers films, that he isn't that small. I mean, I did look it up because I wanted to see how it was done and stuff, but it just doesn't really fit on a second viewing. However, first time, fantastic achievement. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Captain America, the First Avenger, a 7.5 out of 10. Another really decent entry into the MCU franchise. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Captain America, the First Avenger, is that Chris Evans turned down the role of Steve Rogers 3 times until Robert Downey Jr. convinced him otherwise and said, after the MCU is done, you can take any part you want. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. If you want to subscribe, it's up to yourself. Got a lot more reviews coming, lots more videos, and I've still got the rest of the MCU franchise to go. Next up, Avengers Assemble. If you want to comment about Captain America, the First Avenger, or the MCU in general, leave it down below, and I'll reply to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.